expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
You are listening to Ability Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Amelia Hedley-Lamont of the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands. And today I am joined by the present CEO of the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands, Angus Drygo. Good day, Angus.
Good day, Amelia. Happy to be there here and happy to, and greetings to the listening audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this show will focus on the future activities, the Disability Rights Center. And you are there in the hot seat to provide direction and so forth. So kudos to you for that. It's not an easy job.
No, it's not. It's not.
But we're also joined by two very stellar community workers. Kishma Francis, who's the project director of the Virgin Islands Parent Training and Information Project, and Archie Jennings, who is the assistant to the executive director and litigation director. I know you as a litigation director, Archie Jennings. So excuse me, I just can't let go of that title for you.
You should.
But Kishma Francis, you have been doing amazing work with families and parents and so forth. And so we wanted you to share what's coming up for our community in 2026.
Okay, thank you, Amelia. So in the last show, we talked about what happened. Now we're going to talk about what we expect in 2026. But before we do, I just wanted to toot our horn one time for our Youth Empowerment Leadership Program. It was housed at Edith Williams Alternative Academy. And out of that program, we not only were able to assist about 50 students, we also had students that created a teen mental health and wellness brochure and poster. Now, this is important because we received a small grant for it. However, they were nationally recognized for their work. The poster, the brochure, everything was created by the students. And as I stated in the last recording, we have a whole bunch available at our office if you would like some. These brochures have been also used by different parent centers. They were created by teens for teens.
What's
what
the
we're
subject?
looking for?
Yeah, what does it cover?
Just teen mental health.
Oh, okay.
Just how to signs of when you're not feeling good, when you feel like you need to talk to somebody, just normalizing reaching out to someone and just telling the teens and their peers that it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not get help. So this brochure has been so powerful. Like I said, it's been used in a lot of parent centers in the nation. So what we want to do, we want to continue with the teen mental health because it is an issue and we need to find ways on addressing the issue. We want to continue our IEP meetings and trainings. We're going to go to the hybrid once again, online and in person, and sometimes online and in person at the same time. These IEP meetings are going to just focus more on the nuts and bolts of IEPs, the meetings, communication, and just how to be properly informed as a parent or as a student, because students can attend their IEP meeting. We also want to continue collaborating with agencies to assist our community. When I say our community, we are Parent Center, and our focus is on students with disabilities. However, we focus our attention on all students for the simple fact that when it comes to students, especially in this territory, we've seen that there have been more undiagnosed or underdiagnosed students. So if we focus our attention on all students, we're going to capture a larger audience, and who knows, it might be beneficial to each and every student. We want to do anti-bullying videos with the Department of Education. because we found that bullying is a huge issue in the schools. Also, we want to do short videos that focus on addressing teen mental health issues and once again normalizing reaching out and getting help. We want to do series about empowering the students in the schools, empower yourself, where they can build confidence, resilience, and self-love. These will just be workshops, just workshops, and we'll have presenters do it, not us. We also want to hopefully explore more art therapy. I didn't mention it in the last segment. However, the last time we did art therapy, we served almost 1,000 people, students, teachers, administrators, and even at the art fair, we had art therapy. And I think we're bringing it back this year again.
Yes, we are.
So all of this we're trying to do and we want to do in 2026. I think it's possible. I know it's possible. But the main thing we want to focus on this year too is the disability advocacy reading rights and reading initiative. Is our Dari book club. And we want to actually have tutors to assist students to read. We're looking into collaborating with different agencies, especially nonprofit, to assist us in assisting the students in just reading phonetically, which is important. Reading phonetically. So once we get that rolling and once we continue to work with different organizations like Beyond Visions, Tutu Park Mall, Greater Change, that's a new one we're working with, My Brother's Workshop, I think we'll reach more of our community and I think we'll continue to do good.
Kishma, I wanted to mention also the Office of Gun Violence.
Yes.
That we partnered with them last year in actually closing out the program. We had our graduation ceremony and so forth. And also we want to continue doing that this year again. And there was some competitive spirit in the schools. So there were a few schools that actually exemplified the bring your child to school day. And we were able to recognize those schools on St. Thomas and bring banners. They printed banners and put banners at those schools.
Nice.
So through collaboration, it's not just saying that, well, we're going to try and resolve or solve a problem. I think it boasts other things. And one of the things, and I don't know if you want to expand a little bit on that, Kishma, is that we ideally pose by those things that we're doing to remove a lot of the stigma associated with a lot of the disabilities that we're seeing. I don't know if you want to expand on that, because that's something that is key for us. Because if you see somebody just as yourself, it's easier for you to deal with them as a person.
And definitely, because we live in a territory and first off, let me just go back to when we did the survey in 2024. And we did a survey asking teens, when you hear the word disability, tell me one word that you associate with disability. And the survey was very eye-opening because the kind of responses that we received alerted us that we need to further educate our community on what is a disability. How do you advocate for someone with a disability? Disabilities don't all look the same way. They don't all appear the same way. So we have to do better at educating, and we have to do better at normalizing getting help, especially when you feel that you need it. And one big thing we found is that just to talking to the students is that normalizing seeing a counselor, reaching out to a therapist, because it's not, from what they've said, it was more associated with a derogatory term instead of you just getting help to address an issue. So that survey showed us that we need to educate our community in order to reduce the stigma of disability.
Was there a word that you're comfortable in sharing as to what percolated the most?
Oh, wow. It was the R word. We don't use it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
Right.
that was a big
it,
that's a big one.
Okay.
Because
that was the
you even
biggest
have
one.
people in the upper echelons of the government saying those
Oh,
things.
yeah, of course.
In this day and age,
Kishma, just for clarification, please, can you explain what an IEP is? Because we use that
An
parlance
IEP
as, yeah.
is an individualized educational plan, and it's for students that are in the school system from birth to prior to the school system, public school system. Prior to the public school system is the individualized family service plan, which is the IFSP. Because when a child has a disability and is 0 to 3 years old, they more look on the developmental side. But when they reach into the educational side, and now to qualify, it has to affect their educational performance. So they're looking at how that child's disability is affecting their educational performance. So that's why in the school system they get a plan, but prior to that they get an IFSP.
Gotcha.
Also, at Kishma, you want to mention the accommodation piece as well, because you could have a child that has an IP or without one, but that child also has a disability, and they don't have a developmental disability, but they need some
Yeah.
accommodation.
And keep in mind, not all students with a disability qualify for special education services. And I want to say this because we talked about stigma. Special education is just a service. It's a service that's being provided through the Department of Education using federal funds. So not all students qualify based on the educational performance piece. However, if a student has a disability, they can qualify to receive accommodations. And accommodations are under the 504 plan. And that's under the Rehabilitation Act of 1979, Section 504. And that plan allows them to get accommodations in the school, which allows them to gain access to the same education act. So IEP, there could be 504 accommodations in case a parent is wondering.
Kishma, can you jump on a little bit of the texting program that we have, which is also part of the Parent Center, and the newsletter that we sometimes collaborate with Yvonne from Beyond Visions?
So let me just touch on the newsletter first. We had an awesome opportunity to collaborate with Beyond Visions and Family to Family, and we have a newsletter. And this newsletter is sent out during the first week of the month, and it provides information, and it provides links, it provides events, it provides just information that anyone could use, any individual in our territory. And it's not only information based on the territory. Sometimes the information is nationwide. We also have a texting program. Our texting program sends out text messages directly to your cell phone. And these text messages allow you not only to receive information about our agency, but motivation. On certain days of the week, we send motivational texts. And then we also keep our community who have signed up for the text messaging program abreast of any events that are coming up in the future or any trainings or workshops.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. I know Angus had a specific question for Attorney Jennings.
I wanted actually to talk a little bit about the American with Disabilities Act, because that's something that the community visibly see. I did a survey recently in Frederickstead. I didn't get to Christiansted. 2 streets in terms of access. We have cobblestones. We have telephone poles in the middle of the sidewalks. We have ramps for wheelchairs that are not adequate. We have parks that have been refurbished, but no access to the bathroom facilities. And even lines to support the poles in the middle of the sidewalks. they repair the roads and they don't do anything with the sidewalks to be able to give people with disability access to them.
No curb cuts.
So, Archie, I know you've had a lot of experience in that. If you could just go over some of the things. And also, though, one of the new things that's out now is the service animals. But just to touch on that briefly, because some folks, you see them with labels that say service animals, and they're really not service animals.
Well, again, a lot of the things we do is outreach and training, and many of the subjects that you brought up would come under our contract with the Cornell University Northeast ADA Center, which essentially is where we find funds for training, outreach, and addressing individual cases every so often. I just checked, we've been with Northeast ADA for 15 years.
Wow.
We've assisted them to come down to the Virgin Islands because it's also, like you said, very inaccessible in certain respects. And their center covers New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. And they provide a lot of what we would label as anti-stigma campaigns and finance that for us here as well. And just generally helping business, not only the community, because the community will take, the public will can essentially push some of those issues by advocating before the legislature, before the public works, to make known where these inaccessible areas are within our public community. We've also worked with Julian Henley, who is now the present ADA coordinator, the territorial coordinator. We've had two prior territorial coordinators, but he's been the most effective one over the last about 6-7 years. Essentially, one thing with Cornell is that we can get data and compare it with other communities to show, and we have examples across the nation of where there's a soft issue of, not giving credit, being credible as far as accessibility. We've worked with them over, and people got to remember the buses changed. Now it's because of the ADA and Northeast ADA Center and getting contact with the Department of Justice, which made the buses more accessible on both islands. And as far as for those with severe disabilities and mobility problems, that helped put through litigation as well as lobbying the VITTI Plus system that's present here in the Virgin Islands. So though a lot of the issues regarding accessibility have come under a slow but surely approaches to making the public facilities more accessible. We're still working on the airports.
Yes.
Right.
That's a forever project.
Right.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah.
For us, I think it goes back to like 1998 or maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
The letters
Yes.
and the visits with each new director of the Port Authority. But anyhow, we still keep plugging away and remind them even if they just put it down in a picture format, which they've done a couple times when they announce that they're going to do something with the airports. But also, right in the middle of this, when I think about it, we are a team. So all their team members that are not here today are Kishma Creaky, Don O'Brien, Rebecca Kubla, somebody reminded me that one of our past advocates, because they came into the office and she called Pauline D over because she had her phone number over an issue with the school system. So even though they don't work for us, they're known in certain communities as having helped them in the past and reached out to her. But one of the biggest topics we worked with a couple hotels here, as well as done presentations to Rotary, was regarding service animals. Was a nationwide issue across the board. All 57 jurisdictions under the Protection Advocacy System always gets that question about service animals. And it's a very simple approach that we try to work in the community. And for the Virgin Islands, it's got a two-prong approach. One is that all animals should be on a leash. You have a leash law in the Virgin Islands. But on top of that, the person who has an animal that says or wants them certified as a service animal essentially has to show that the animal performs a task. It can't be pretty or just very friendly. That works with under housing law. If you live in a community, you can get an accommodation for a non-service animal, what sometimes they call a comfort animal or an assistive animal. But a service animal is what's covered by the American with Disabilities Act. And anywhere publicly that the general public can go, a person who is in need of a service animal can legally take that animal with them as providing assistance. It could be a small animal that maybe nudges a person to take the medication. It could be a large animal that helps a person who may have vertigo or issues with stability to be able to lean on that animal going in and out of locations. So service animal really is very contextualized, has to be looked at on a one-on-one basis to basically convince the party or the location where they're going to enter. I've seen people come up to a airplane entrance with 3 or 4 dogs. Well, you only get one service animal. so, so they had to direct them, and it's made it much easier. Most airlines now have on their website accommodations as one of the web pages. As you go to enter your ticket, they'll ask you whether or not you need any accommodations. So that's where you can declare it before you get to the airport and get turned around or get very angry because they won't let your 3 dogs on the plane with you.
Yeah.
And
3
the
dogs.
other issue,
I'm amazed. I'm sorry, Arch.
I guess they were accompanying one another.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know why she had them, but anyway.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes left.
Okay. One of the other aspects of what we try to work with, like I said, was the business community. And we did have an assessment by Northeast ADA as to the aspect of more accommodating businesses. And it developed a toolkit. So those employers just want to contact Northeast ADA or through us, the Northeast ADA can provide in-house training on their business toolkit.
Yes.
And there's a website called AskJan, ASK.JAN, Job Accommodation Network. You can go to that location, and it's paid by the federal government to assist on developing a job accommodation. They give you very good examples of what has been done. They match up a disability or a condition with job, I guess, supports and services for the person to remain fully employed while they have the accommodation rather than letting it go. Or the person can advocate for themselves through the contacting the Department of Justice, and as well as the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Okay.
So there's methods to work on those issues
That sounds great.
for accessibility.
2026 is an election year.
Yes,
So
it is.
where are we?
And we are going to be out there again. We've done this, I think, the last 2 elections, I think. We're going to have a voter registration collaboratively with the election system and also a machine demonstration as well. So and we'll have tons of information for voting remotely, and I'm sure we'll have the election folks on our show to come. We're also going to have forums. We're partnering with Voices That Count.
Okay.
So we'll have forums and those will be hybrid, so you can be on either island and listen. That's what's coming up, so look out for that. We're going to be at the ACT Fair. Don't forget that. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
If someone wants to get in touch with the Disability Rights Center,
you can call us. We have 2 numbers, 776-4203. That's the St. Thomas number. We're located in Havenside. And then in St. Croix, Estate Carlton, next to the old Kmart, 772-1200. Either number, you'll get either office.
That's right. We are one-stop shop.
Yes. And of course, we have our website, drcvi.org, and we also are on social media.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you. This has been a very, very informative conversation. I'd like to thank our guests, Angus Drygos, Executive Director of the Disability Rights Center, Archie Jennings, Assistant to the Executive Director of Disability Rights Center, and Kishma Francis, Project Director of the Virgin Islands Parent Training and Information Project Program. Folks, thank you so much for listening to us. We've got a lot to share and a lot to give. Have a great day and enjoy the year.
Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you, Amelia, for coming out.
Thank you.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.